resilience, beauty. I'm Dragon Tamer Tony, and my mission is to share reptile education, my personal mistakes, and my journey conserving wildlife.
What's up, Dragon Tamers? I'm Dragon Tamer Tony. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to go see Chris Leone of Garden State Tortoise. But before we head off to Chris Leone's Tortoise and Turtle Education event, I have to feed some of my reptiles real quick. One more thing, Dragon Tamers. I would love to meet Chris Leone and his wife. I have a deep admiration for their love and education efforts, conservation efforts for tortoises and turtles. They are phenomenal people. I just love what they're doing for the community and educating everyone. That's what they're doing today. Not only do they speak online through the internet, but they speak publicly as well. That is just phenomenal, and I just can't wait to hopefully meet them one day. I don't know if I'm going to meet them today, honestly, because I am not really a break the ice type of person, but one day I know our paths will cross and it will be right. But much respect to them. I love everything that they are doing. Now let's go see what they're all about, guys. I'm Dragon Tamer Tony. Subscribe to the channel. My goal is to produce some of the most reddest cherryhead tortoises on planet Earth and to conserve turtles and tortoises.
My name is Chris Leone, and together with my wife Casey, we run a crazy little place right here in South Jersey called Garden State Tortoise. And that's because, well, we are sickly obsessed with turtles and tortoises. So we're here today. We're going to do a fun little talk and introduce to you guys a lot of living examples of the turtles and tortoises that come from planet Earth today. And just to give you guys a quick background, Garden State Tortoise was founded by myself and Casey in 2011. Although this has been part of our lives pretty much forever, we are a rehab, rescue facility, and sanctuary where these animals can live their lives out in as naturally of a manner as possible. Casey is a former zookeeper. I am a state assistant herpetologist, and if you don't know what herpetology is, that is the branch of biology and zoology that deals solely with reptiles and amphibians. And since turtles and tortoises are reptiles, you can see how that fits right in there just fine. We also have a very popular YouTube channel, and I will shout that out later. You guys can follow us because every Sunday at 8 a.m. we release a brand new video. So tomorrow morning there's a brand new one coming out. But without further ado, let me introduce to you a very special little guy right here. This is Swift. He is a Sonoran desert tortoise, and he is, believe it or not, a tortoise that lives right here in the United States of America. He comes from the Sonoran Desert. That's where his name derives from. And he is, in fact, a true tortoise. You can see he's got elephantine feet. He moves fairly slowly, and his species is very endangered today. Habitat encroachment, humans, all the crazy things that we do to wildlife is why these animals are disappearing. But another interesting reason why his beautiful species is in decline is because of disease factors. Desert tortoises are prone to a disease called mycoplasma, and it can wipe out an entire population. So Swift actually lives his life solely alone at Garden State Tortoise. He doesn't get to be with any other turtles or tortoises, partly because he can't really stand them, and also because he could easily get sick from some of them. And the reason I say that is because when it comes to turtles and tortoises, when they're carrying something, they don't always show symptoms. So a tortoise or turtle can appear just fine, be walking strong and tall like Swift is right here, but actually could be carrying something that is lethal to other turtles and tortoises. So Swift gets to live his life alone. When you look at the front of Swift, come here, buddy. I don't want to disturb you too much. You'll see these projections right here in the front. Can you pick them up so everybody can see? Good. Got it? Right here. This big projection is called his Gular scoots. What Swift does with those, he finds other boy tortoises and he flips them over. That's how they fight. That's how they rival each other for breeding rights. When they see a cute little girl tortoise over there and that male decides that that's going to be his female, he finds the other male in the area and flips him over. But that's not so good for the rival male because that male could actually die in the sun if he can't right himself in enough time. So while tortoises are in fact peaceful animals and pose no threat to humans and pretty much any other animal, they do pose a threat to each other. And that's another reason why Swift does best alone at Garden State Tortoise. And even in the wild, he would have a small territory that he would occupy to make sure that all other dudes stay out. Swift has beautiful eyes when you look at him. He's got beautiful gold irises. He has excellent vision. And that's because all turtles and tortoises have excellent tetrachromatic color vision, just like birds. That means they can see millions of more colors than we as humans can. So he can tell the colors of all your shirts and your sunglasses and your pants, everything. He can see those colors and even more. How about a round of applause for Swift, the Sonoran Desert Tortoise? That's the most attention you've gotten all year, buddy. So we're gonna keep it moving here, keep it fun and interesting. And as I said, turtles and tortoises of the world. So I just showed you a tortoise that comes from the United States of America, but now let's go big or go home. And when I say go big, I don't mean just in a big deal. I mean that I'm gonna show you guys the world's largest tortoise species today. This tortoise is extremely famous. Casey's gonna bring her out, but she's just a little baby. Now most of you are probably like, baby, that thing's huge. Because she's a fraction of the size she will be when she is full grown. Sally here is going to weigh several hundred pounds when she's a full grown adult, and if she was a male, her shell would attain 5 feet in length. Shout it out if you know what kind of tortoise Sally is. Louder.
Galapagos.
There it is. Sally is a Galapagos giant tortoise. She is captive born and bred in the United States of America. She was produced by a facility down in Miami, Florida that is doing monumental work with Galapagos tortoises, where they're studying their genetics and even the seed dispersal that they're responsible for. That's because Galapagos tortoises, not unlike any other turtle or tortoise, will eat a lot of plant matter. And when they do that, they're eating seeds. And then they walk around and they poop those seeds out. And that brings out brand new plants and trees and all kinds of cool stuff that benefits every species on the planet. So understanding how they do it, why they do it, and what plants they prefer is very important for not just the ecology and the conservation for the Galapagos tortoise, but for the entire environment and ecosystem that they are actually part of. So Sally here was hatched in 2021. So you can see she really is only just a few years old, and she will live to be more than 150 years. So she's got a very, very long way to go. And again, even though she's a good foot long right now, she's nothing compared to what she's gonna be when she's a fully grown adult. Galapagos tortoises are critically endangered today. At one point, there was more than 15 different species of them coming from different islands within the Galapagos Islands range. But today, there are far fewer. They are very endangered, and that's mostly from us eating them over the years. They live in volcanic regions, which are absolutely no problem for them, and because they're colored black, they can heat up so quickly in the sun. So it's actually important for us right here, right now, to pay close attention to Sally and make sure that she doesn't warm up too fast in the sun. Because even though she's a reptile and she needs the heat, and you're thinking, yeah, but this is New Jersey, you guys know it gets real hot here, and it doesn't take long for your shell, if it's colored black, to heat up quickly and even problematically. Sally enjoys eating mostly grass. She eats weeds and flowers. She gets occasional fruit. But because turtles and tortoises can't really process sugars that well, we make sure that they don't eat too much of it. I wish somebody would do that for me with ice cream. You do try. No luck. So, take a good long look at her now, because in the coming years, we're probably not even going to be able to bring Sally with us on these presentations unless we want to get a hernia. Because she is, again, just a little bitty example of what she's going to be in a couple of years. Tortoises are very smart animals. They can problem solve. They have facial recognition.
I am.
Yeah, see that? See how she just problem solved right there? Casey pointed that out. She knew she was going to go right off the edge. There are animals that will just keep going. Our dogs.
Shit. I see it.
Good job, Sally. How about a round of applause for Sally, the Galapagos tortoise? Who here has been to South America? Ooh, you guys need to travel. Okay. In South America, there's a lot of reptiles and amphibians. It's oxygen rich, it's warm, it's humid. Reptiles love that kind of weather. And there are actually a lot of turtles and tortoises there too. So Casey's gonna bring out right now 2 very special tortoises. 2 tortoises that in many ways are similar, but also very different. I'm holding Reuben, Reuben is a red-footed tortoise from South America.
And
His species is usually found in areas like Brazil, and the Admiral over here is a yellow-footed tortoise, and his species comes from areas like the Amazon, or the Amazon basin. Fun fact about these tortoises, particularly the Admiral, although he is essentially a herbivore, he will definitely take advantage of something if it is deceased. Anything at all. And these tortoises are known as the cleanup crew in the Amazon basin. Something bad happens, no matter what it is, they'll clean it up. Might sound disturbing, but they play a vital role in keeping the ecosystem clean. Oh, where are you going? I don't know if you're as smart as Sal.
that's what they're the good.
Are you? Oh, he's thinking about it. He sees you guys. All right. See, they're smart. Reuben, like I said, is a red-footed tortoise, but he's an example of the red-footed tortoise called the cherry head. And if you look at his head, you'll see it is bright red in coloration, and that's why we call them the cherry head. There's a lot of different examples of red-footed tortoises throughout South America, and for each locality, they vary in appearance and shape, but they're all still the red-footed tortoise. The Admiral, who again is the yellow-footed tortoise, kind of follows that standard a little bit too, because if you look at his legs, they're kind of more orange, aren't they? Some of them are more of a pure yellow, like the lines you see on the stage here, while others are more of an orange. These are full grown, so they get to be nowhere near as big as the Galapagos tortoise does, but you can see that they are a decent size. The yellowfoots on average are going to get bigger than the cherry head redfoots. He's checking you guys out.
The stand up gold.
Yellow-footed tortoises and red-footed tortoises, although they are very prolific as far as tortoises go, their eggs take an extremely long time to hatch, and their eggs are huge. These females, the same size as these two guys right here, will lay eggs this big, sometimes 6 at a time. And they can incubate for 6 to 7 months before they hatch. The hatching of a lot of turtle and tortoise eggs is often timed with rains. And that same thing kind of happens here in New Jersey. Because even though we don't have a dry or rainy season per se, turtles here that are native to our state will lay eggs in the spring and early summer, and then they're timed with the fall rains to hatch. So sometime pretty soon, when we start getting the strings of rainy weather in late September or October, that's when baby turtles will actually naturally make their way up out of the ground that the females lay the eggs in. The Admiral and Reuben represent two very popular tortoise species in herpetoculture. Herpetoculture is the hobby of keeping reptiles and amphibians as pets or for breeding purposes. These two tortoises, mostly the redfoots, often end up in rescue situations because people will purchase them as cute little babies, and then before they know it, they're this big and it's a little bit too much for them to handle. And that's exactly how almost every single animal that we're going to show you today ended up with us. They needed new homes, so we opened our sanctuary to them, and now here they are. So how about some noise for the Admiral and Reuben? I think he stuck his head out when the desk clapped. When it comes to us, humans, we see something pretty,
So that.
we automatically assume it's the most beautiful thing in the world. This is arguably considered the world's most beautiful species of tortoise. This is Madagascar's radiated tortoise. You can see why he's called radiated. He's got the lines on his shell, the radiating pattern. His species is only endemic, means only comes from the island of Madagascar. That's an African island where this species solely exists since the species became about. They're critically endangered. Their numbers used to be in the 20 millions. They've dropped drastically today, mainly because in Madagascar, due to the economy and the situation over there, they're eating them. So they go out into the bush, they collect these tortoises, they eat them, and they're also collected for the illegal pet trade. This animal did not come directly from Madagascar. He was produced here in the United States, just like Sally the Galapagos tortoise. So he doesn't have any ties directly to at one point living in Madagascar, but he's a wonderful representation of his species. Radiated tortoises are a truly fascinating animal. They have this incredible dome, beautifully marked carapace, which is the top of the shell of the turtle or tortoise. And when it rains, they will actually stand up really tall. It's pretty incredible to see. I don't know if you scratch them, if they'll do it. See me? Sometimes when you scratch the top of them, they'll stand up really tall. Look, something you're doing? He's thinking about it. Maybe not. When the rain falls, the tortoises lift their bodies up as high as can be. It's hysterical. They actually stand up on their toes as high as they'll go. And nobody is really 100% sure why this species does that, but they think it may be historically or evolutionarily due to flooding. And that would be the way that the animal would raise its body off the ground to avoid the threat by flooding. Radiated tortoises, again, are very smart animals. And going back to what I said before about their vision, if you recall, I said turtles and tortoises have excellent tetrachromatic color vision, meaning they can see millions of more colors than we can. This species, not unlike some others, is attracted to the color red. So if you were to put down something like a strawberry, and then a banana, a green leaf, and a hamburger, this animal is going to automatically go for the strawberry because it is attracted to red. They know it's not necessarily the scent of the strawberry, but the allure of it by looking at it visually. And other tortoises, there's a species of tortoise called the Russian tortoise, they're attracted to the color yellow. Radiated tortoises are actually not a very prolific tortoise species. And what that means is a female may lay a single clutch of eggs, about 6 eggs per year, and only 1 or 2 of those eggs may end up being fertile. And that's just naturally how this species persists. They're just not as prolific as some other species of turtle that are out there. But nonetheless, they are a very robust and hardy tortoise, capable of withstanding a lot, and Madagascar has a very harsh environment. There's the wet season, and then there's that brutally hot, dry season where these tortoises have managed to thrive incredibly. But not unlike what I said before about some of the other tortoises, there's a wet season and a dry season, and the babies are timed to emerge out of the ground when those rains come. And we happen to have a baby right here, right now with us, which is a rare treat to see. As I said, they're not a very prolific species. That means they don't typically have a lot of babies. But while some turtles and tortoises are not exactly what they're going to look like as adults, radiated tortoises literally look like mini versions of their adult selves. Casey's going to, I'll watch him. Casey's going to walk around and give you guys a close look at a true living gem, a true rarity. This is a captain born and bred baby Madagascar radiated tortoise. And you can see, when you look at this animal, just how flooring its beauty is. You can see why they're so coveted. And you can also see how heartbreaking it is to be in a situation where you've got to walk out into a bush and eat one of these animals to save the family. The situation over in Madagascar is very unfortunate, but there's a lot of conservation efforts going into saving not just the radiated tortoise, but other wildlife found on Madagascar because, not so fun fact, all the turtles and tortoises that are endemic to the island of Madagascar are in fact endangered. Every single one of them, from the big radiated tortoise down to the little tiny spider tortoise, is critically endangered, with a very uncertain future. So it's captive bred babies like the one that Casey's bringing around for you guys to see that are a sign of hope and a sign of the future for these animals. We are the ones that ultimately have destroyed their situation in nature, so we are the ones that automatically need to accept the responsibility of bringing them back through any means necessary. Conservation in nature, preservation in captivity, and education. This is one of the sole reasons why Casey and I do what we do, is reaching out to everybody to educate you all as much as you can about turtles and tortoises. Because you should at the very least be able to identify the turtles in your home state. We can't tell you how many times we get emails and messages saying, hey, I found a tortoise in my backyard. It's not a tortoise, it's a box turtle, and it belongs here in New Jersey, and you can leave it alone. We educated them, it was great, but they didn't know up front what it was. So, as we go on with this, I'm gonna try to help you guys to understand what we have in our state, so that if you do come across it, you know what to do, and you know if you should leave it alone or not. I don't know if I trust you. Beautiful, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's pretty cold right now. He's pretty cold right now, but when they're warmed up, let me tell you, these things can run. Yeah. How smart are you? You gonna respect the line? He respects the line. He knows. Madagascar radiated tortoise, Latin name Astracheles radiata. Truly amazing animal. New Jersey. We're home to more than a dozen turtles only. We do not have tortoises here in New Jersey. One of the species that lives right here in New Jersey, and in fact South Jersey is where the heaviest populations of them are, is the Diamondback terrapin. That's the world's only brackish water turtle, the only turtle species that's actually endemic to brackish water, but they are not a saltwater terrapin. Casey's gonna walk around these guys because they're a little bit smaller. Now we've got an albino example, and we've got a normal example. Diamondback terrapins are the turtle that we as humans almost hunted to extinction because they are the ones that we made turtle soup out of. Now, snapping turtles are also used for turtle soup. The Diamondback terrapin now has been outlawed completely from that because we literally almost wiped them out completely. There were terrapin farms up and down the East Coast back in the day that would farm these animals just for soup. But then as their wild population started dwindling, they shut that down. Whatever was left of them was let back into the marshes. And then conservation projects came about to bring them back. Casey and I run a Diamondback terrapin conservation project in Galloway, New Jersey, called the Terrapin Conservation Initiative, where every single year in June we go help the nesting females. We remove their eggs for artificial incubation in cooperation with the Conserve Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey. We incubate them naturally, and then around this time of year, when the babies hatch, we release them back to the salt marsh. Diamondback terrapins are an incredible species. Now, when you look at the two that Casey's walking around with right now, the big one, the albino, is the female. The small one, the normal colored one, is the male. This is natural dimorphism between male and female. Females need to be much bigger than the males because they carry huge clutches of eggs. Up to 17 eggs in a single clutch, and the females can lay 3 clutches in just one summer. So every 2 to 3 weeks, the female will come up 1, 2, and then a third time to lay these huge clutches of eggs. So you can see why the males don't need to be that big. They have one job, it's to find the females, to make this big event happen, and then the female has to do all the real hard work. These poor females have to cross all of our busy, treacherous roadways during peak shore season when everybody wants to come down to the Jersey Shore to enjoy our beaches, and unfortunately, hundreds of them get crushed by vehicles. Diamondback terrapins, if you notice, especially with the female, have a really wide head, and they have very powerful jaws. Trust me, I've been bitten. They can rival the bite of a snapping turtle, no doubt, because their jaws are designed to crush things like mollusks. That's what they eat. They like clams, they like mussels, they like snails, they like fiddler crabs, anything they can get those jaws on. Oh, we got a mess here. Anything they can get those jaws on, they will take full advantage of and completely crush it effortlessly.
Good.
Diamondback terrapins also have a salt gland inside their head. That's how they're able to live in brackish water. So when they eat, they know just as much as they should eat while they're in that brackish water. Now, when they're in fresh water, because they can survive in fresh water, they will eat a lot more because they don't have to worry about processing that salt. So they'll just keep eating and eating and eating, and they end up becoming really overweight. And a lot of terrapins in captivity don't live as long because of it. Beautiful, aren't they? So if you're visiting the shore towns in the summer, especially in June and July, make sure you keep close watch on the road because these are the ones that are going to be all over it and they're just looking for a place to nest. If you see a turtle crossing the road, always help it in the direction that it's going in. Only park the car if it's safe to do so for yourself, and that's it. And even when a turtle appears to not be in an area that you think it should be in, trust me, it's been there, it's supposed to be there. It's just that during certain times of the year, they have to navigate through things they otherwise normally couldn't. Everybody loves baby turtles, right? Teeny tiny baby turtles. Come gather around over here. Because these things are tiny. You need to be up close to see them. Another species of turtle that we have in New Jersey that is by far the most abundant is the painted turtle. They're called painted turtles because they look like somebody painted them with a little paintbrush. They're so beautiful. There's 4 different types of painted turtles in the United States. Casey's walking around with the western painted turtle. And if you look at the belly, it has really bright red markings, really, really gorgeous. Green shells, yellow stripes.
Oh.
No surprise why they're called painted turtles.
Kind of sell like in the pet store. No, those are
Now,
they're super.
reptiles, turtles. They need heat, right? Sure, they do need heat. But they also need cold. And when it comes to turtles that come from areas like New Jersey, it's important for them to hibernate. During the winter, these turtles are sound asleep, and it helps rejuvenate them, it triggers them for breeding, and it just helps them with that extreme longevity that they have. But when it comes to the painted turtle, they're able to do something that no other turtle can do. They can freeze solid for up to 3 days because of an antifreeze that they have inside their blood. So these babies that sit in their nests will sometimes hatch too late in the season when fall is already really in play. A year like this, maybe, when we're getting a little too cool, a little too soon. Even with the return of heat, it's still not exactly what it normally is. So the painted turtles in the nests that were laid a little bit too late in the summer will overwinter in that nest. But because the nest is only about 3 inches below the surface of the ground, they will have to freeze at certain points. And for 3 days, they can actually freeze solid. It's pretty amazing. Wood frogs are capable of doing something similar like that. There are some other amphibians, but nobody ever expects that with a turtle or tortoise, that cold can actually be beneficial for them or that they can actually handle it. But if you're an animal that's native to New Jersey, then of course you are equipped to deal with at least some kind of winter. But there are other turtles and tortoises throughout the world that are capable of doing that too. Pretty much any of the ones that come from Europe go through all 4 seasons. They get a real winter to some degree. But it is the painted turtle that really sets the bar high in being able to tolerate cold. And they will move underneath the ice. I've been out in the field working with them where there's a good 2-inch sheet of ice on a pond, and the painted turtles are just moving around underneath it, no problem. Whereas no other turtle that's native to the state is in sight at that point, because they are hunkered down, hiding completely, and that's it. Painted turtles are freshwater, so they are not like the Diamondback terrapin. They don't live in brackish water. They can only spend very short intervals in brackish because they don't have that salt gland that the terrapins have. They prefer lily ponds, creeks, streams, rivers, and lakes. They have a pretty wide preference for a freshwater habitat. And they are pretty much carnivorous. So they're not really interested in eating plants or fruits. They like to eat a lot of bugs. They like to eat fish, frogs, tadpoles. Might even make a meal out of a tiny turtle if they're a big adult. Even though they only grow to be about 6 to 7 inches, they definitely can eat a baby turtle if they want to. And let me tell you, turtles have been proven to be cannibalistic. Certain species of likes. So that's the western painted turtle that Casey's got. There's the southern, the midland, and the eastern is the one that's found right here in New Jersey. This might look like an angry water brownie to you guys. It's not. Don't eat it, it's not a brownie at all. This is a snapping turtle, but not just any snapping turtle. This is North America's largest freshwater turtle species and one of the largest turtles in the world. It's just a baby right now. This is the alligator snapping turtle. This is Hooper. He's only about, I think he's 3 years old now, about 3. Going on about 3 years old. He has an extremely powerful bite though. He's being pretty chill right now. But Casey's gonna walk around what he will turn into. Casey has the skull of an adult male alligator snapping turtle. So you can see just how huge this animal will one day get. Now, alligator snapping turtles are not found in New Jersey. We have the common snapping turtle. A lot of times people will come across common snapping turtles, and just because they're big and brawny and they're snapping, they'll automatically assume it's an alligator snapper. But no, we are way, way out of the alligator snapping turtle's range. Occasionally, somebody loses a pet and it's found in New Jersey, but this animal, he's opening his mouth. There you go. You guys see that? The alligator snapper greatly differs the common snapping turtle in many ways.
Like that freeze.
Yeah, very prehistoric, right? The main way is that the alligator snapper completely dwarfs the common snapper when fully grown. These animals can reach more than 150 pounds for males. They get absolutely huge megacephalic heads. That means they get a huge head. But aside from size, they differ from the common snapper in that they don't have a long neck. So what the alligator snapper does is it gapes its mouth just like that to show you, hey, I can't reach you, but if you get too close, I'm gonna ruin your day. The common snapper has a very long neck. It will thrash. It will swing its head side to side, front to back, downward, and it can get you many different ways. The alligator snapping turtle is not like that. It's nowhere near as fast, but I promise you, if you got your hand inside an adult male alligator snapper's mouth, you gotta go shopping for a new hand, okay? It's not gonna happen. But these are peaceful animals. A lot of people give them a bad rap, saying that they're out to get us, that they eat all kinds of animals. Do you know what alligator snappers eat? They like clams. They like big clams, they like mussels, they like snails, and they will eat smaller turtles if they come across them. But these animals don't wait at the river's edge to pull in deer or somebody's dog or somebody's cat. They actually prefer very fresh meals, pretty much in the form of some kind of seafood. Like I said, clams, freshwater clams though, and those kinds of items. The common snapper, again, that's the one that lives up here. That's your duckling stealer. It's a natural part of the food chain, it's what they're supposed to do, but the common snapper is the one that will actively pursue things like ducklings, goslings, anything that gets a little bit too close to the water that is safe enough for them to grab without getting hurt. But not so much the alligator snapper. So while this animal may be huge, prehistoric looking, like a living dinosaur, and looks super menacing, they actually couldn't be more peaceful. You notice the whole time I'm holding Hooper, he's just holding his mouth up. That's it. One other thing about them, it's a little bit too hard for you guys to see, especially with the baby, but the alligator snapper has something very interesting in its mouth, right around the area of the tongue. It's a little appendage that's pink and looks like a worm. They'll lay on the bottom of the water like this, with the mouth open, and lay motionless, making themselves look like a log or a rock. And they'll wiggle that little appendage so that a fish gets fooled and thinks that it's a worm. And that's because the alligator snapper is not capable of moving as fast as something like a common snapper. So the alligator snapper lets the meal come to it, and then once the fish goes for the fake worm, the alligator snapper gets the real meal. But contrary to popular belief, they will also do a lot of their own hunting, and they'll move up and down river systems at night mostly when they feel most secure, and they will look for things like clams, mussels, and even other turtles. All right, time for the main event. I know some of you guys saw him earlier. Turtles are primitive animals, wild animals by heart, even when they're produced in captivity. But every once in a while, not unlike any other species of animal out there, you come across somebody really, really special, and you can't quite explain why they are the way they are. A lot of amazing things have happened to Casey and I with Garden State Tortoise with these animals, but few have been as puzzling, mind-blowing, and as enjoyable as this guy right here. This turtle is the ultimate educational ambassador for turtles across the world, especially his species, which is the eastern box turtle. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Otis, the eastern box turtle. Otis is a very remarkable eastern box turtle that came to us in 2021 from the Popcorn Park Animal Refuge after being dumped there without any story or any history. His previous owners, we don't know why they didn't want him anymore, because it seems pretty darn cool. They just dropped him off, that was it. Nobody got any story. And because we handle the vast majority of turtle rescue for the Popcorn Park Animal Refuge, they called us and they said, hey Chris, we have another box turtle for you. And I said, okay, that's no problem. They said, yeah, well this one's different. And I said, well, okay, what do you mean different? He said, well, you gotta meet him. So they brought us Otis, who was just chilling out in the back of the big white van, he was stretched out enjoying the ride. I come to find out that the night prior to them bringing us Otis, he was put inside a big pen with all the other eastern box turtles that live at the refuge. They came out that morning to find all the other turtles flipped upside down on their backs. Otis went around to each and every turtle that he could find and flipped them over. Because Otis does not like other turtles in a very unhealthy way. So, not unlike Swift, we showed you first, the Sonoran desert tortoise, Otis lives alone because what he's doing to Casey's shoelaces right now is exactly what he would try to do to other turtles. He just don't like them. We don't know why. We also don't know why he acts more like a dog than anything else. This turtle studies our every move. He plays tug of war, as you can see. He follows your eyes, stays locked on you, and he's even come to be quite the animal actor. So I urge you guys to follow us on social media if you want to laugh really, really hard, because we have managed to remake Godzilla, Jurassic Park, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and Jaws with this turtle. And when I tell you it was executed beautifully, when you watch it, don't be anywhere where you have to be quiet, because you're going to belly laugh, and you're going to want to show people. This turtle is absolutely unbelievable. And what's great about it is, his species by nature is naturally very, very shy. So box turtles Casey, you want to lift him up for 1 second? Actually, no, hold on. This is better. This is what I'm talking about with the staring contest that he does.
Oh, the sign.
I see him every day, but it's still like whacking. Anyway, what I was trying to say, how to perch your turtle. There you go. Anyway, box turtles by nature, they don't act like this. They're a very shy species, and the reason they're called box turtles is because on the bottom, the plastron, they have a hinge right here. That hinge acts like a drawbridge, so when the turtle feels threatened, and in the wild they feel threatened by everything, they tightly close up completely. And if you got your finger stuck, it literally is like a vice grip. Trust me, it's happened to me. It even happened to a dog I had years ago. She got her tongue stuck because she tried to mess with the box turtle. So they have the ultimate capability of trying to hide against predators by being able to close their shell completely, because the shell is solid bone. So you gotta be something pretty gnarly to be able to break open the shell and turtle. They are no match for vehicles though. And in New Jersey, we are no different than any other state that has naturally occurring eastern box turtles, where we are annihilating them with our vehicles. During the spring, summer, and fall, and I want to tell you guys this now, this is becoming a very active time of year for box turtles. They love the fall. Look at his colors. You see how he's orange and yellow? He's got those fall colors. He could be way more active in the fall and go undetected because he's going to blend in with all the foliage that's going to be turning and falling. So keep that in mind. These turtles don't like extreme heat. So during the summer, when we're 100 degrees, they're hiding. But now, they're starting to cool off a bit, weather's getting nicer. When it rains and the leaves fall and they create that color pattern on the ground, eastern box turtles are on the move, not unlike the way they are in spring. And they will be on the roads. Please, watch out for them. Think of Otis if you have to. But so many of these animals are getting completely annihilated by our cars. It's at an alarming rate. It takes an eastern box turtle upwards of 20 years to reach maturity in the wild. That means a female can't lay her first clutch of eggs until she's about 20 years old. So imagine what it's like to just hit one of them with your car and take that out of a population. A population that is so sensitive because the species only lays 3 to 5 eggs one time a year. So when you remove that single female, you are making such an impact on the wild population. They're a beautiful, iconic species, one that I got my start with when I was 5 years old. My dad found a box turtle and he handed it to me, and that started this whole thing. When Casey was a little girl, she recalls yellow and black box turtles in her backyard were the same ones she would see all the time. They are a symbol of America, northeastern America, the mid-Atlantic region, and they're disappearing because of us. So we like to use Otis to teach you guys about that. Even though he's an incredibly personable turtle that nobody can explain why he is the way he is, please don't go out there and take one thinking that this is what's going to happen, because this really is a true rarity. And without knowing Otis's history, we don't really know if he learned this from being hatched into captivity or there's just something extra going on, special inside his brain. One thing we do know, reptiles as a whole are no longer those dumb, deliberate animals that we once thought they were. They're actually very capable of affection and many other emotions too. And a captive turtle that has always been under a positive experience is going to behave completely differently than a wild turtle, because this animal doesn't have anything to fear, and because when they're in the wild, it's believed that there are certain receptors in their brains that are there, but they're turned off because they simply have no use for it. But once they're in a captive situation, again, this doesn't mean go taking a turtle out of the wild. I'm talking about truly captive born and bred animals that are going through positive experiences with humans. These receptors that are there, primitively there, are turned off. So it's believed that maybe these animals are behaving a certain way because they are learning. They are experiencing positivity. It's positive reinforcement, essentially. And recently, the University of Lincoln did a whole study on how they proved that tortoises and turtles do in fact experience emotions. And I think a turtle like Otis is really no surprise. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk today and meeting all the different animals, whether it was Otis, Swift, Sally, whoever. We have over 400 animals at Garden State Tortoise. We post brand new videos every single Sunday at 8 a.m. on our YouTube channel. Please join us for the ride. It's been a crazy, amazing ride. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, we're there. Please check us out. Again, it's just Garden State Tortoise. You can find us anywhere. We've been telling some pretty incredible stories about some pretty incredible animals and just sharing our absolutely bizarre life with everybody. So thank you to Absecon Veterinary Hospital, our good friends over there who take care of our animals for us, and for inviting us. And yeah, thanks, Otis. We'll see you guys soon.